Right, let's start off by addressing the elephant in the room. Yes, I'm currently filming inside a crack house, and that is because my office is under renovation. There's no wallpaper on the walls, all we've got is me and this lonely little light in the back and a bunch of different tools. So if you can deal with that, I can deal with that. Now that's out of the way, cool. Basically, if you guys have known me, if you've watched the channel over the past few months, you'll know that I've been sponsored by Lakai myself for a while. I've been on the Flow team for about 1.5 years now, and they've recently been going through a bit of turmoil, especially in the social media space. Essentially, the leaders, Rick and Mike, who started the brand, ended up selling the brand to someone else. It's been sold a few times throughout the years, and it ended up in the hands of a man called Mark Roker. Now, Mark himself doesn't have too much skateboarding background, but from what I've heard from the skaters on the inside, they did a whole video where I spoke to skaters still working at Lakai after the layoffs, after the team was cut, and it seems that this guy was very charismatic. He was very well spoken when it comes to skateboard knowledge, and apparently he had a deep love for the sport, and he just wanted to bring Lakai back from the dirt up into the forefront of skateboarding again, which is obviously an honorable task. A lot of people are skeptical, rightly so. When someone comes in that hasn't got a traditional skateboarding background, a lot of people do have their backup for that, and I can totally see why. There's a lot of people that want core skateboarding to remain core, and as Lakai was one of the only brands that still remained owned by core skateboarders, it's easy to tell why people were very skeptical and very protective over the brand. Now, although Rick and Mike left on their own accord, they weren't actually fired themselves, according to the people that I've spoken to. The team itself was let go of because a lot of them either weren't pulling their weight, or in some cases they were pulling their weight but just didn't want to sign on to the new brand without Rick and Mike, which again is fair enough. If your friends brought you onto something and then your friends decide to leave, there's a good chance that you would leave too, and honestly, I can respect that. I've got absolutely no issues with that. But a lot of people were skeptical of the future of Lakai. And I mean, it's easy to see why. When people are quitting left, right and center, when the owners have gone, it's very, very few and far between that brands that go through such things can actually make it to the other side. But I'm here to tell you today, there's been some very positive movements in the world of the Lakai skateboard shoe. So, first of all, Bastien Salabanzi. If you don't know who this guy is already, I'm going to switch over scenes. He is a French professional skateboarder who's been on the scene for a minute. If you don't know who he is, I highly recommend you get to know. He's been posting content for a while. We've got over 3,000 posts. He started, I believe, on Flip and has been killing it ever since. Put out some banger parts throughout the years. He's currently 39 years old and still absolutely killing it. So, hats off to that. Now, this is his Instagram page right here, and he announced himself, I think it was like a week or 2 weeks ago, that he was on the team now for Lakai, which is obviously fantastic to see. I've known about this for a while behind the scenes, but haven't been able to say anything. I mean, I was never asked not to say anything, but I mean, it's common courtesy that you don't pre-announce someone else's team change. But anyway, he's now on Lakai. He's been putting out mad content ever since. Got him here in Macba with the nollie heel flip nose slide. I think it's a backside flip lip. Yeah, so he's obviously absolutely killing it, has been for probably 20 plus years at this point. So he's been putting out plenty of content. I believe he's in Tokyo right now, which brings me on to the next part of this. So obviously we're all stoked to see that Lakai is signing on some core skateboarders and some sick ones at that, with some big skateboard history and some big say in the skateboard scene, if you will. So the big thing that is going on this week, not only did Bastien Salabanzi join Lakai, they've also put out an absolute banger street part, a team video right here, Lakai in Tokyo. Now, this was filmed by someone that you may actually know, and we're not going to watch the video right here because we're going to move on to the next one in a sec, but I will show you a few clips if I just silence this right here. So basically, these guys, the new team, Louise Mora you got there, which brings me on to the next section. He now owns Lakai. Obviously, I assume it's going to be a minority ownership, maybe like 10, 15, 20% at most, I would say, but still enough to say that you own part of the brand. Now, he has been in the skateboard scene for a very long time. He's been uploading videos on YouTube. I'm pretty sure he was one of the OGs. Let's just jump over to his channel real quick. Go videos, go oldest, and you can see 12 years ago. Now, I'm pretty sure when I did that skate YouTuber tier list way back in the day that one of his parts was rated near the top just for vibes and how good it was and the skateboard skill. Like, he's really good on the board. So it's clear to see why they picked someone like him, who obviously knows the social media space as well, which is clearly the future of skateboarding and actually generating sales in this business. Like, if you're just skating in the streets or at competitions, you're going to struggle massively to keep your head above water in this industry, and that's just a fact. But yeah, let's jump into his most recent video real quick. I'm going to show you a little bit of it, and then I'm going to come back and talk to you. So let me stick this on real quick.
As many of you know, I've done 2 collaborations with Lakai through Erased, in the past few years, and recently I was contacted again, but this time it was by a new owner. It was really random. One of the higher ups at Lakai at the time, he hit me up. He's like, hey, I want to introduce you to the new CEO of Lakai. And I was like kind of shocked because I had no idea that Lakai was sold. So he hit me up and we got on the call, and he just wanted to discuss another collaboration, which at that point I wasn't really interested. Just like the timing wasn't right, and I had just done one, so I was like kind of off it. Shortly after that, it got really messy. The founders, Rick and Mike, were let go. Same thing with like a lot of the employees. The team just left. It was a mess, and I didn't really know what to think about it. But shortly after, I was contacted by Mark, like for a job offer. He wanted me to be the TM and kind of help bring the brand back to like a better place, which I refused, but I was speaking to him and I worked out a deal with him. I said, this needs to be a skater-owned thing. I want it to be like run by someone who loves this and like has passion for this and understands the vision. The deal was I would get ownership in the company to be able to help run the company and actually put my time and effort and even just my name into the brand to help just rebuild it and put it into a better place. Mark ended up agreeing, and yeah, I have ownership in Lakai now. I signed 4 skaters right away, gathered a budget, and got everyone out to Tokyo to produce a video for Lakai as one of the owners. I just finished editing the video, and that is up on Lakai's YouTube, but this version right here that you're about to see, that is the behind the scenes version, more of like my style video for my channel.
Right, so what you've just seen there is probably incredible news for some and more skeptical news for others. You're probably going to be asking yourself, how is this skate YouTuber going to help bring Lakai back into the forefront of skateboarding and stop it from the likely never-ending death spiral that most people had either hoped or expected it to go down? And I can totally see where you're coming from, but as someone who has obviously made a lot of money in the business, who has obviously got a lot of influence in skateboarding, looks after a lot of core skateboarders with his team, Aura Skateboards, Erased, he is one of the best businessmen in skateboarding without a doubt. Like the Erased brand, I can tell, is very, very popular, and they've got a lot of very good skateboarders signed to them. They mainly operate in Tokyo, I believe, but he's oftentimes back in LA, San Francisco, doing bits and bobs here, there, and everywhere, taking his team, taking younger skaters, taking skateboarders that don't really have that social media essence, so to speak, and bringing them into that world to help them excel and grow as the skateboard community grows. But will Lakai be able to go against the grain and actually rebuild themselves into the giant they once were? Personally, with the kind of comments that I've been seeing, I think so. I think that they're going to be back at the top of their game. Maybe not soon, maybe not in a year's time, but definitely eventually. And it's probably going to be for the best that this whole thing happened in the end. Now, I did predict this about 2 months ago. Everyone was calling me an idiot. Everyone was saying I was paid to say this. And it seems like, I hate to say it, but maybe I was right, and it wouldn't be the first time. Anyway, I'll leave it at that, guys, but I'm very much happy with how this has gone and how Lakai is moving forward. With the signing of Bastian Salabanzi, the skaters that Luis himself has actually signed on, bangers. I would highly recommend you go and watch that video I just played you a segment of, because it's got a serious batch of heavy hitting skate content in there, so I'll definitely go check that out. All the details in the description, but other than that, thanks for watching. Thank you for paying attention to the update. Much love, and I'll see you guys in the next one.